I feel like I'm shouting at everybody.
So I'd like to call the town board meeting to order. As you see, our supervisor isn't here tonight. He's battling a couple of health issues today and couldn't make it. First item on the agenda is a resolution to accept the minutes from August 5th as well as August 11th. Can I get a motion?
Motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Without any discussion, put it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
So the next item was a recap of the next steps for the park. Kelly Nessel was going to talk a little bit. Bob, did you leave her at home? You did. All right. We'll put that on hold and move to the next. Resolution for the adoption of a new water main for the water district. This is for the Gore Village as the applicant. They've put in for water service. There's construction that needs to be done. There is a small section of pipe that the town will adopt as a water main into the water district. There's a letter accompanying our board packet with the information from Cedarwood. The big thing that this resolution does is authorizes town supervisor to complete and execute any additional items that may be required. The biggest one is that they need Department of Transportation permit, and they need a resolution from the town that we will accept that water main before they can get that permit. So serving 12 individual 3-bedroom residents at Gore Village. So I need a resolution to bring this forward.
Move. Second.
Discussion.
So just to be clear, this is just for the supervisor to complete documents.
It's for the supervisor to complete documents and for us to eventually accept that additional water main for the water connection. Behind Basil's.
Is there some wording that needs to be changed in the resolution? Is that what you're looking at?
Well, it does, I just reading it as he's allowed to complete and execute the documents.
The DOT permit says that the town will accept the water main. That's what the DOT needed.
Jonathan told me he needed the resolution for the supervisor to execute the documents before they can move forward
Yeah.
with anything.
So this is just for him to complete and execute the documents. It's not about us.
So action items 2A, the town will provide a letter to the applicant to obtain their New York State Department of Transportation permit to confirm the water district will assume ownership and maintenance responsibility of the installed water infrastructure within the DOT right away. So in a sense, that's what Kevin will be signing, which is the,
No, I understand that, but when you read the resolution,
It's not making it clear
yeah, it
what
just,
the documents are for. So
yeah.
I can redo the resolution if
yeah.
you folks want to go ahead and
I'm
pass
just, when
that,
I read
can-
I'm just saying, when I read the resolution, I read it as we are just giving him to complete. I don't read it as it's allowing him to do 2A, in my opinion.
Okay.
I mean,
I
that's,
can add the verbiage from 2A into the
yeah,
resolution.
because when I read it, I didn't read it as that, Gene, I read it as just, we're giving him the right to execute.
And that was my understanding from that, all that
Yeah.
was.
I
all
wasn't,
that was
yeah,
Jonathan needed was that, just saying he could.
yeah, I didn't read,
But
it
if we
said,
want some clarification, we can do that.
that 2A needs, that isn't clear to me.
sure,
Yeah.
Okay.
sure. So how do you want, so are you opposed to section 2A in Jonathan's letter of Kevin signing a letter that will go to the DOT that says that the town will assume ownership and maintenance of that portion of the water main.
I'm not opposed to it. I just don't have any, I didn't ask any questions about it because I thought we were just doing the first part, is my point. So, I mean, as a town board member, I would have preferred to have more time to have asked what that meant and have a little more time to ask questions. Like what does when we assume ownership and maintenance for the portion of the work described, and it's after all of this has been completed.
Correct.
Okay.
There's an option to table it and get clarification from Jonathan if that's what you want to do. I just don't know if holding it up.
No, I don't want to,
Or-
I don't want to hold that up, but if we sign this as it is, it doesn't really include that portion. So could we do a floor resolution for that second part?
Or change the
I
Or
wording.
change the word, you can just
of
change
that
the
one
wording?
resolution.
Okay,
Yep,
okay.
Yep.
I think that would just be important to make that clear.
sure.
In the wording you want to add is whereas the town, be real specific, whereas the town will assume the water main that is in the New York State Department of Transportation right away. Taking the part from 2A. Because it's not on the Gore Village's property,
Yeah,
the district needs to assume.
no, that makes sense.
So we can take that wording and put it into the
Or just
resolution.
copy and paste from
Yeah,
the email.
copy,
Yep,
copy,
absolutely.
copy and paste is a good thing.
You got it.
I think it just also protects us if, I don't know, just makes me feel better about having
I'm
it.
seeing both sides. I'm seeing that we're allowing the supervisor to sign what the document is. You just want clarification of
Yeah,
what that document
yeah.
actually states. It's fine.
Yeah, thank you,
Perfect.
Jean.
Yep.
Yep.
I appreciate it.
So with those changes, any other discussion? Call for a vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Kelly is here now.
Yes.
Just let you know.
So Kelly, we're gonna go back to number 5. I asked Kelly to come at the last board meeting. Is construction in the Ski-Bowl Park comes to a close, as the sewer construction comes to the close, it's time for the town to start looking at the Ski-Bowl Park Vision 2040 and potential next steps that we can take in the short term as we begin to work out that vision, as well as balancing the grant, some grant opportunities that are there as well. So without further ado, Kelly. And that she's going to give a recap and then we can ask questions.
Okay. Is that about right? Okay, thank you. This is basically to the board, but you guys listening, have any questions, feel free. Thank you for inviting me to make a few comments about the closing of the town sand mine at Ski-Bowl Park and the possibilities that its closure will allow. I'm going to give you a little history briefly for a lot of people who don't know. When the bypass was built by New York State Department of Transportation in 66, 69, the town ended the park district that existed. It had been formed in 1934 when the park acreage was gifted to the town to promote skiing. Now, you can end a park district, but you cannot end a park, according to New York State. It would appear that the town boards and supervisors of that time did not know this because the highway department and the open dump were moved onto the parkland in the early 1970s. Both uses are considered illegal because they are not recreational uses. And residents weren't too happy either. because in the 1990s, the residents collaborated with the town board and Supervisor Thomas, called for the closure of the mine, the relocation of the highway department, the revitalization of skiing, the resurrection of the swimming hole, and a connection between the ski bowl to Main Street. You can find all of that information in a variety of studies that were done. The North Creek Action Plan in 91, the Parking and Recreation Study in 1997, the Land and Water Revitalization Plan in 2000, which was then updated in 2015, and the first master plan for Ski Bowl Park in 2011. The hard truth is that the finances to do this kind of work were hard to find. And although most everybody on the different boards wanted to make progress, it was difficult to set money aside. In the 2000s, different grants from New York State and private sources became available, coupled with lots of valuable volunteer expertise and hard work with the process, and work began. 2000, we had a pond freshwater pipeline. 2000, well, that was wrong. It's not 2000. That was the pond water recreated in a different place. The dam had busted out or whatever. 2002, beach pavilion was built. 2003, the new pavilion in the tot lot up top was built. New ski lifts and snow guns were installed in around roughly 06. The Joe Minder Lodge was rebuilt in about 08. 2010, the tennis courts were resurfaced. 2013-14, the trail network, about 10 kilometers was created at that time. Sidewalks were built from the road into the big pavilion. Electricity to the beach was installed. Landscaping was done and playground enhancements were brought in. 2015, I think, roughly, the garden and the dog park were constructed by volunteers. 2017, we had more trail extensions. In 2018, we had a beach picnic site built. And in 2019, beach terracing and more trails were extended. The original Vision 2020 designed uses for the sand mine once the highway department was done extracting sand. The updated Vision 2040 expands our recreational area into the same 8 to 10 acres. This area is where we can build new courts, a new pavilion, new and additional pavilion, new playing fields if we as a community decide we want to promote our kids' recreational opportunities. The good news is that we are at a point where the mine is ready to be closed completely. Back in November 4th, 2021, the board had a letter from Superintendent Comstock in their pre-meeting package that requested the town board to accept closing the south end of the mine from the fountain.
I just interrupt? I was the one that got that information together for you today. And I also noted that whoever signed that letter on behalf of Fred Comstock with his name on it is not his signature. I confirmed, I brought the letter
Okay.
home and checked with Fred, and it is not his signature on that letter.
That may be my copy, but he said that he had sent a letter that was signed.
The
Okay.
copy, whatever it is not Fred's signature.
Okay.
on the letter.
However, I can assure you that if that's the case, Fred and I had talked about this. We talked about it again today. Fred had said that he was going to be here to read the letter. He wasn't able to be here. He asked me to read it. So that's what I did at that meeting. Okay. So got to catch up where I was here. So the letter accepted closing the south end of the mine from the fountain to the boundary line that separates the highway department from the park land. Mr. Comstock was closing a part of the mine because, quote, "We have taken all we can out at this point. If we were to continue mining, we would have to bring in fill in to remediate the site later. That would be an unnecessary cost. The rest of the mine, which entailed the area from the boundary to the sand stockpile, would remain open until operations were permitted and moved to the new site on Garnet Lake Road in the park. The projected date for moving operations was summer 2022, where sand would be acquired for 2023. Today, it appears that the sand behind the station, other than what is in the berm opposite 28N, is adequate for winter 25-26, but other approaches will be necessary for the winter of 26-27. And I confirmed that with Fred today. Closing the sand mine ultimately benefits the recreational aspects of Ski Bowl Park, because when the mine is reclaimed, as required by the mining permit issued to the Highway Department, Ski Bowl Park will add about 3 to 5 acres. On top of that, the town will be taken off the New York State Office of Parks and Recreation's list of communities with alienation infractions. That is a fancy way of saying that land that is considered a park may not have a non-recreational use within its boundaries. This town has had 3 alienations since early 1970s: the sand mine, the highway department, and the dump, now capped, and subsequently the transfer station. Because we have these alienations, we cannot get funded by the Parks Department. One of these infractions was dealt with in 2005-06, when the Front Street developers requested a carve-out of the park, creating parcels A, B, and C. The only way possible to get rid of an alienation is through the New York State Legislature and the National Park Service. It is a complicated process and took about 7 years to finalize, but the town ended up with 3 ski trails to the northwest off the Ski Bowl slopes, to date undeveloped and unused, and the parcels of land taken off the park map. By no longer being considered parkland, the highway department alienation vanished. But the sand mine and the transfer station remain. Closing the mine and reclaiming it will get rid of the second most pressing alienation and will allow us, hopefully, to be eligible once again for funding. And let's look at the financial advantages of closure. The sand procured from the sand mine has a certain value each year, roughly $80,000 a year. And calculated over the the cumulative cost of sand over the last 18 years at that average would have been $1,440,000 of value. That's a big savings, no doubt about it. However, due to the illegal uses within the park and the fact that the Parks and Rec has refused to give us any more funding since 2007 to develop recreational venues, I would suggest that we've lost some money, because if we had been awarded up to, and of course it's if, and not every request might be at the maximum amount, but if we figure the maximum amount of $500,000 from the New York State Parks and Rec for capital projects in the park, we would have received $9 million. And now, of course, we also have to add the cost of reclaiming the sand mine. So $1,440,000 plus reclamation costs versus capital project money of $9 million. Has it been worth it? I urge the town board to resolve to close the entire sand mine and satisfy the requirements of the DEC mining permit. Doing so, the town will be able to look ahead to additional funding awards, which will allow us to rebuild the playing courts, construct another larger pavilion for winter ice skating and summer events, create an accessible paved walkway for wheelchairs, baby carriages, people on crutches, tricycles, and finally, make a strong connection between Ski Bowl Park and Main Street. So there's my spiel. If you have any questions, I'm happy to address them.
Fred, I have a question to you. The $80,000 figure, isn't that closer to about 40,000 in savings?
If you look at what the price of a ton of screen sand is, I looked at the local was $866.
Yeah.
We figure we average 6,000 yards a year. A yard is approximately a ton and a half. Add it up, you're right around just under 80,000. Some years. One other point is the cop-out. Yeah, we also get, when we screen our home, we get the byproduct, 25% usually is our cop-out.
Sure.
That 13 something a ton.
Another point that I'd like to make, nothing against your progress in the park, and I think we should be headed that, but we also have to recognize that we're not talking the same monies. We're not talking apples to apples here. Highway department funds are totally different in the fact that how they're paid for. And if we're talking about replacing monies with park project monies, well, that doesn't help the residents as far as our taxes. That furthers our park, but that still does not replace the money that we would be using for the sand. That still has to come from somewhere.
Oh, I'm not, I'm just saying it's a good idea to close the
Right,
mind.
I agree with you,
So-
but I'm just saying we have to look at this as not just, it's not a financial savings for our people in our town. It's a matter of being able to get money for our park projects. We still have to look at the cost of that sand. We can't compare it
Sure.
directly like that.
Okay,
Again, it's like not apples to apples. That's slightly, almost, it's confusing, if you will, perhaps.
So
Okay.
since I've paid attention to town doings, and it doesn't go back, but I did look back. Every year for the last 10 years, we've put roughly $80,000 aside for closing of the mine. It seems as though we bought property out on Park Street because we didn't have any sand. And the sand was gonna run out in a year. So we bought that property, and we had to buy that property because the sand was gonna run out. And now we're trying to sell that property 6, 7 years later.
Mhm.
And it seems as though every time we have a discussion of the sand pit in the mine, we have a year left. We have a year left. And every year we have a year left. And if we're digging down further and further, reclamation costs go up, and any savings to the taxpayers we might have in sand, we will ultimately be paying and having to bring fill in for that sand. So at some point, I think we need to make some moves to, one, make some progress. Kelly, you said that closing the mine will solve the alienation
Of the sand mine,
of the
yes.
sand mine.
Mhm.
Does that happen when we close it, or do we then have to go through New York State Parks and do a whole bunch of work with New York State Parks?
Well, it's not a whole bunch of work. I think we have to notify them.
Yeah.
And maybe show them pictures or whatever once we have it back in suitable form. I know that they do give money for rehabilitation of disturbed land or whatever that's not really fitting into the park. So I think that there is money there. The I don't know, I feel like I've been beating my head against a wall with these folks, for over several years. So I'm not quite sure what they want. One of these days, I figured I'd go down and talk to them and say, okay, here's the situation, but I don't have anything to give them yet.
Yeah.
So we closed the mine, and I believe, Fred, am I mistaken when I assume that once you close the mine, in order to get your permit closed, you have to rehabilitate, correct? Certain standard you have to meet. Yeah. Right. You have to satisfy your reclamation plan that they base their permit on. And once you do that, then it's done and the land is free to be used by the town as it wishes for park purposes.
Fred, how long does that process take for you? Yeah.
I can't say, I don't know how long it took with the state. It take a long time. I mean, this year we'll be getting enough sand out of it to do our winter, everything we need for the winter. If we were to have to dig there, we'd have to go down.
So for you, I mean, this is your department, you know the sand pit better than anyone. Looking at this, if you think we have, what would you say, year and a half left of sand?
This year, we're gonna pretty much deplete what we have.
So with that in mind, would it be correct to say that this is a process that needs to start now? Okay. I want to go back to that 80,000 set aside for 10 years. I've never seen $800,000 for the reclamation of the mine. Where is that money in the budget?
There's 80, this year it was 40,000. We reduced it in the
I
last
remember
budget.
that, but where?
And that hasn't been put into a reserve. It ends up going into our general fund. So
If it's not in a reserve, it can be used for anything,
it
so.
can be used for everything.
so we
So
don't-
every year we end up taxing our townspeople for that money. And then we don't do what we've said we've done, which is that money was to close the pit, and then we don't do it. It's the same as, it's the same as saying we're gonna sell property and we put $150,000 in as revenue, and then we don't sell it. And then we put it in and say we're gonna sell property the following year, and that goes in as revenue, and we don't sell it. So that ends up being used up in the general fund, or as raising taxes.
My
So-
understanding is that the $80,000 would have had to be put into a
It would
reserve.
have to be
Correct.
put into
To be
reserve
used, and
to be
so
said is-
There
if
may
it's a-
be $80,000 in the budget, but it's not being saved.
Yeah, if it's not in a reserve, it can be used for anything, so if,
So then we put it in the budget again the following year, and it doesn't get used, but
I mean, if it's not in a line item, we can't really say that we have that money to close the mine. I mean, I think that's
this
a
year,
little-
this year we have 42,000, or we have 40,000.
and it's in a line item?
It's in a line
Okay.
item to close the mine.
Okay,
Yep. And next year, you know, I know with the highway, Fred and I talked and sat and did some calculations of what might be required for reclamation. And our initial discussions, and this will come September, we were going to increase that line for 2026.
so Fred, for this to happen in a reasonable amount of time, you said now, right? So, I mean, there's a lot that goes into this, right? Finding the property. For you, do you see this being just the sand pit moving? Do you see it being highway and sand pit? Do you see it being highway, sand pit, and the county DPW? Like what's your thought process on this?
Ideally, if you had a piece of property and you had to move the garage and you had sand there, that'd be great. It's large enough and in the right place, the county could possibly go in with us.
Okay.
There is a piece of property in town. Won't say where or who, but
Yes, let's not put anything out there. Okay.
just that, you know, it's gonna cost a lot of money and who's gonna pay?
The immediate issue, though, is the highway has been removed from alienation with the formation of Partial
Correct.
C. So that isn't holding up any funding. So for now, the highway garage could stay there, and I would not be in favor of moving the highway garage until there is funding from an outside source other than our own taxpayers. But closing the mine, sand mine,
That's key.
is right in the way of, you know, the mountain to river, you know, efforts that we're trying to make with Ski Bowl Park and the potential for a roundabout in opening there. None of that can take place with a sand mine that's open and hasn't
Correct. We
been
need to
started.
close the
Well-
mine.
Well, that's, the roundabout is also part of a exploratory conversation. That's not a thing that we know is going to happen. So I think, you know, that's one thing that needs to be, we have to be careful about that. Although we are all for it.
It was a possibility,
There's a
but it's
possibility, I
only a
think, yeah.
possibility.
But would it not be prudent if it's preferred, Fred, to have everything together to look for a piece of property that could potentially hold all things?
If I can add my 2 cents on that, Fred and I spent a lot of time looking at various properties. We're in places where it might be reasonable to put the highway department as well as for extras, you know, sand that could be used. I don't know, I spent, what, 3, 4 years we spent looking at different pieces of property. Most of them are still available. But you know, as I drive down toward Glens Falls and I go down 28 past Weavertown toward the Glen, and I look at all that land that all of a sudden there's a house here and a house there and a house, I'm thinking, oh my God, if the town doesn't secure a place, so eventually, whenever they decide it's right time to move the highway, there will be very hard pressed to find a good spot that isn't gonna put people off and make them angry, and they don't want a highway department near, but near their $1 million house or whatever it might be, even a $200,000 house. So, you know, it's just waiting, and the land gets more and more expensive. It doesn't make sense to me. That's my 2 cents.
I think the more we layer, the more we paralyze ourselves from making any progress.
Mhm.
We have layered for the last 10 years and said we need to close the sand mine. Oh, and let's move the highway garage, and all of a sudden, nothing happens. So I'm in favor of a more pragmatic, we have a sand mine that's at its end. The more we dig, the more it's gonna double in cost, because what we dig to save, we have to truck in to fill at a later date. So. I
And
think
you're
that-
limited in what you can truck in
Absolutely. So.
by the mining
so
department.
Again, you know, I think that the incremental steps of solving that issue, closing that, reclaiming it, getting it off, potentially then being open to getting more grants
Yeah.
for that development. The highway garage is on parcel C. If that gets moved at a later date, that gets moved at a later date. But again, my position would be that needs to come from outside funding, $7-8 million to
Oh,
move the highway
sure.
garage.
We haven't done anything without outside funding.
Sure, go ahead, Amy.
No. No, I don't think that.
Another thing is, in the Clarkson study, I remember specifically the woman who spoke about it, and we told her we wanted to move the garage, and she did not suggest doing that because of all of the sediment from oils and everything else that could be in that land. We might be setting ourselves up for some trouble if we try to move that garage.
So this discussion's on first steps to take for the park. I would say that the moving of the highway garage is not anywhere near the first.
Yeah, I'm not proposing that.
Yeah,
I started out saying I'm looking at the closure of the mine, and
Yeah.
that's where I'm at. So don't try to put that moving onto
No,
me.
no.
Discussed about finding a piece of property and moving the garage. And can I suggest that you find another piece of property that you want to mine, that you might be, go through the proper channels to make sure that it can be mined? Because we've got that Park Street property that we bought for way too much money, and it sits there and does nothing, and we couldn't even mine it because we weren't allowed to. We gotta look into this a little bit deeper.
Fred, is a mine permit a highway garage, Johnsburg highway mine permit, or is it a town of Johnsburg? Town of Johnsburg. Okay.
Pete, did you have your hand up?
I did.
Did you put down?
So I was gonna echo a little bit of what Jim said. If our, no pun intended, if our line in the sand is, this is the last year of mine, we need to move forward with the reclamation. Regardless of where the sand's gonna come from, whether it's another piece of property, whether we have to buy it and truck it in for a few years until we find another piece of property. I think you're right. I think it's best to keep them separate. For me, as the head of public property and programs, this is really park property. This is under my purview, but I can't do anything with it because it's the highway mine. The second the mine is closed, then I have to step up and I have to figure out how to lead the next steps.
my hands are tied right now. I can't do anything as long as the mine exists. I could offer to help Fred in the closure process or help him in the reclamation process. I don't have a lot in the way of manpower and equipment, but certainly we can put our heads together. I'm willing to do that. Again, at the end of the day, what Kelly says is it's been parkland all along. It's been, if Kevin was here, he would yell at me for saying it's my property. It's my responsibility. But, right, parks, so it's a weird situation having the highway mine on parkland. And I'm not trying to make Fred go this alone. If I can be of any assistance in figuring out how or what to do to get the reclamation done.
And these were decisions that were made years ago. I mean, I remember when my son at age 9 was in the baseball thing, and we used to stand there and we'd look at the sand pit that was 3 times the height it is today. I mean, it was huge. And we've taken a lot of sand from there. It's been very beneficial for the town. We've taken that sand from there since 70s. So it's been a huge amount of money that the town has saved by mining that. But unfortunately, good things come to an end. And we're at that point now.
So to, I guess, wrap this up, Fred, you're in agreement that needs to probably move forward on closing. I guess board members, if, I don't know if there's any objection. But I guess I would suggest, I don't know if there's a resolution needed, but I would suggest that we start to research and look at what's required to close the permit.
First, a
and work-
resolution from you guys.
And work on reclamation.
And I agree with Amy's point about the land that we look at. I mean, that process takes time, like making sure it's the right property, bringing in the engineers, checking it, all of that needs to be done very, very carefully. So starting tomorrow is probably the best step because, as you said, you have this timeline that's looking us in the face. And there's probably limited places that we can go to.
Could we do a floor resolution, please, to move forward with this so we have an agreement that
Sure.
the whole board has agreed that?
Fred, I may have missed something during the lengthy conversation that's been going on. But if we are to close the mine, what happens, where do we store the road material after the closure of the mine?
Hopefully we can continue to store it where it is. You gotta have it.
Okay, so the closure of the mine would not affect the storage of the salt and,
Our sand pile now is inside the life of mine down. We would have to do survey it, cut it off, so we still have our rotary on top, and we would store our sand, which is over by the fuel.
reclamation process. Is that something that could be done in-house? Do you feel that it's something can be done in-house or?
But it's a 2-on-1 slope. If that bank right now is 40 feet tall, you're about 80 feet. You gotta have material to work with. But I believe from what our reclamation plan says, they're gonna push off that 40-foot tall wall.
Yeah.
Half the distance, so that comes down
I-
20 feet, you only get about 40 feet.
I can confirm that, Fred.
You have to rent a bulldozer or something.
Right.
But the DOT has allowed, verbally has allowed that berm to be cut down probably to about 4 to 6 feet above the highway level. So there's a lot of sand there that can be used for fill. And we just have to get the official okay, I suppose. But verbally, that's been arranged. The berm is that, it's the big bunch of sand with the trees all over it. Yeah. Well, if you were, you're getting ahead of ourselves. We've got to get the mine closed first. And then in reclamation, the reclamation calls for basically turning the area that's been disturbed back into level ground. Doesn't necessarily have to be the same level as the rest of the park, but level ground that's usable and seeded and with a slope that's a 1 to 2, I think, a 1 to 2 slope only. Um, And all I was saying is that indeed, the sand that is there in the berm can be used and taken down to about 4 to 6 feet above the Route 28 in order to fill in the disruption that exists now. Um,
The details is what we need to figure out.
Right.
Yeah. Bob?
And
You say we've got our part when you go. You haven't even done to go anywhere. Okay, my name is Bob
Oh, come
Musto.
on.
I have a long history about this thing. I was here before there was any idea of a bypass. The state came in and they cut the park right in half. And then the town, most of those people are dead now. And they said, oh, great, yeah, boy, now we got lots of stuff. That was a mess. However, Kelly's right, there's way over $1 million worth of stuff being used for all kinds of purposes. Now, there's permit, right, if you read that thing in strong detail, I've had a little experience with this sort of thing in my engineering experience. The state is gonna ask the town of Johnsburg to terrace the mine place. They're gonna ask the town of Johnsburg to do some other stuff down in the pit, not necessarily bring it up to anything. It's gonna be different now than it is right now. Now, the problem is that the specifications for the reclamation of the mining operation has absolutely nothing to do with building and with what we end up with over there is a park. It won't resemble anything that looks like a park at all. If you go by the New York State closure specification. So it's stupid to even think about contracting or Fred doing any work over there using the specifications for closing the mining operation. Because that's what happened in Alaska the other day. They talked with a bunch of people, but nothing happened. Now, the town is gonna have to spend a lot of money to make park over there. And the system will get used to it. It's not gonna be any $80,000 or even, every year. It's gonna be $150,000 to $200,000 to pay for this thing. Fred has nowhere near the kind of equipment that is required to turn that area into a park. Face it, if you've seen that some of this stuff that's right down at the end here, he hasn't got machinery like that. And he also doesn't have the men. He has to take care of already a road surface. So you've got to put some money on this thing. You can't think about $80,000 a year. It's gonna be 10 years minimum of 500, maybe 600,000, maybe over $1 million a year. You're gonna have to borrow some money to do it. But you can't worry about taxes. And somebody's worrying about taxes up there. Believe me, the town has been using all of that dirt over there for years for nothing. Because the preacher gave it to the town. He never paid a dime for it. Now, you're worried about having to cough up the money to make it into something that we can use. So keep that in mind. Fred, if he goes by the specs, he's not gonna end up with anything that even comes close to a park. We want a park, it's about time. I've been here for 60 years, and I've heard this over and over and over again. And I don't know how many years I got left. I hope you guys, I don't know, you probably not all gonna read it, but I hope you leave something in notes to your predecessor. Get the bloody park going and get it done, borrow some money, and let's really look at the real honest to goodness town. The weakest, the poorest people in the town.
I would suggest that Jim is right and that our first thing, although Bob, your comments are well taken. I think that our first thing we have to do is you guys have to say, the town has declared that the mine is closed. Boom. That's all you have to do. Do it tonight. It's easy. All right. Then later, you can start looking at how the reclamation is going to happen. Is it going to happen just, according to the mine permit only, or is it going to happen with the idea that we need to make it so it's more fully developed for park development? And that's a whole nother issue at this point, as is moving the highway and, finding land and all that. Sand for next year and the years after that for a while, and closing the mine. That's what you need to do. And I'm getting tired standing. Can I go sit down now?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Fred, how is you're preparing sand for this year? How much more, do you have a month of operation? Do you have 2 months of operation? Yep. Yeah. And when do you, so would November 1st is a close date, a December 1st close date?
We'll have it, our job will be done way before that.
Okay.
Remember, when you close it, we can't do anything.
Yep.
It's where the highway department is situated, yes. Is the transfer station. I wish I knew the answer to that. I do know that Andrea Hogan pursued that a little bit. And I believe she received a letter that said, well, okay, it happened so long ago, maybe it's okay. That's from one branch of the State Department, not State Department, the Parks Department. But then another branch of the Parks Department says, well, you've got that alienation up in the transfer station. I mean, I've had different conversations with different officials. And so that's why I say, I don't know. I think the sand mine is absolutely the most pressing. We get that resolved, then maybe we'll be okay, with the transfer station for a while. I think originally when we were talking back 4 or 5 years ago about moving the transfer station, we were also talking, moving the highway department. We were also talking about moving the county highway, moving the Johnsburg highway, and moving the transfer station. So we were looking for a place that would accommodate all of them. And, building out one area is cheaper than building out 2 separate areas. So that was what we were discussing at that time.
Thank you, Ken. Art?
Jim, so are you suggesting that this is a budget 26 issue that has to be put in this year's budget for next year?
I would say that we could probably roll the 40,000 over that we have this year into a reserve fund and combine that with an increased funding in next year's budget to give Fred the resources that he might need, or that, we could then research what's required.
I wondered whether or not buying sand, if it's closed.
Yep.
You're gonna have to start buying sand.
Yep.
26, 27 winter,
Correct.
that has to be in your budget, and I have no idea what that costs.
We sat and figured that out and included that in the
That
budget.
has to be in the highway budget.
That's for 2026. Yeah, that would be in the highway budget. Yep. Again, that's a step down the road. I'm, would say, Fred, get our best price. Yeah,
So I guess my point of view is that over the next 6, 7 weeks, we have to make that decision about what goes into the police budget.
sure, sure,
But it's not a slow motion.
sure. We budgeted, again, it's not a budget workshop, so I don't know. Fred and I are still working on those numbers, but it would be enough to cover. So I guess the question to the board, right, Gene, you were talking of a potential floor resolution, is if the board is, wants to discuss this further, would want to pass a floor resolution stating that
It's going to close. yeah.
close the mine. I would leave that to the board.
I mean, Fred, if we have to get going, it makes sense to pass the resolution, correct?
How about,
So is it appropriate at this time to bring forth a resolution?
Yes?
I would resolve that, from Fred's discussion, that he will have enough resources to take care of his needs for this upcoming winter. And he is suggesting a time, either November 1st or December 1st. I think in order to be safe, I would think that we can go with December 1st, that as of December 1st, we are initiating the closure of the sand pit area. I leave it up to a wordsmith.
Mr. Stevens made a motion to use the date of December 1st as the closure of the sand pit at the highway department, and a second motion from Mr.
second?
Hyatt.
As you worded it?
Any further discussion?
Thank you, Kelly, for all of your well
Thank you,
thought out
Yep.
words.
So we'll put this floor resolution to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Awesome. Thank you. Yes.
Very, very delicate and very extreme motions that have to be made. I'm not going to do it. Rather than let's get
A roll call vote?
roll call vote. We have in history people that they vote for something and people that don't vote. Otherwise,
Well, when we do all in favor, someone can say no.
Right. I still could, then you would go to a roll call.
You're
Motion
voting.
passed unanimously with all board members present.
Thank you.
Next is a resolution to amend the highway contract language. I'm out of order. So this is a resolution with a current employee from the highway department leaving. The deputy supervisors of the highway department is paid $1 more than the highest paid employee per resolution. That deputy superintendent would be in line for a pay cut because of the attrition of another individual. There was some discussion. We made a change to the language of the collective bargaining that says that the deputy superintendent's pay rate will be calculated prior to the first payroll of the year and will remain at the established rate through December 31st, regardless of attrition. So that will keep the deputy supervisor's pay rate the same. Next year, it'll be set at $1 above the highest paid. But if there's attrition, that won't change for the year. Because this is an amendment to their collective bargaining agreement, we put this to a vote of the highway workers. It was passed unanimously by the highway workers, and now we're bringing it to the board for the adoption of that amendment. Can I get a motion?
Move. Second.
Discussion.
Common sense.
Without any discussion, I put it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. The next is a resolution to amend page 11 of 14 of the August 5th warrant due to a payment error. The warrants, there was a 90-cent error on the Lake George Regional Planning Board. The original was $828. The actual amount was $828.90. So this is just changing that warrant and getting it right. Motion?
Second.
Yep.
I was the first motion, sorry.
Yeah. And any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next is a resolution for a vacancy in the Board of Assessment Review. We have an opening that's coming up. One of the members has put in that they are not seeking reappointment, so we need to advertise for a position of the Board of Assessment Review member. Can I get a motion?
Motion?
Oh, second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next is a resolution to authorize the purchase of a new dump body for the 2017 F-350 used by the Department of Public Property and Programs. The truck itself is solid, but the dump body is not so solid. So much so that it's worn beyond repair, and Peckham's said that they couldn't load it anymore because of the fact that we were putting stone and gravel and dirt down on the town highway roads. I'm paraphrasing, but this is for Pete and the truck. He's got 3 quotes to buy a new dump body for his truck. Can I get a motion?
Yes. You have.
Second?
And discussion.
How many miles on the truck that we're doing this, Pete? Do you have any idea what the miles are on the 2017?
65,
Okay.
70, somewhere in that.
All right, well worth doing that for that too. We're good.
There's a lot of life in the truck itself.
All right, thank you.
The concern is not just the bed. The bed does have holes, and we've done our best to do patching as needed. What's really starting to concern me are the cross members on the
Yeah, that's fine.
It's starting to get beyond a safe.
Okay, so let's put it to a vote.
As part of the resolution, do we pass the name of the company that's going to be doing the work? Or is that not part of the resolution?
We're going with the lowest,
Lowest.
it is right here, Woodward Equipment LLC. Yep.
Got it. Okay. I was just-
Yep. Any other questions?
Works for me.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
The next is a resolution to authorize the purchase of disc golf baskets for a new disc golf course at Ski Bowl Park. Pete is putting together a plan, designing a course with people that know something about disc golf that I have no experience with at all. He's gotten some quotes. He's got a lowest quote, but there's the potential that it could be, he's going to be able to get even less than that. There was talk today with Orta. They're taking their disc golf course apart up on the mountain. There's the potential that we could get a donation of those and they'd be usable so that Pete would have to buy less baskets. He's planning this and has already talked with the Nordic folks at Orta, with the couple of members of the Upper Hudson Trail Alliance and people that have designed disc courses in the past. So can I bring this to the table?
Motion?
Second.
Discussion. I personally think the more recreational activities we can add at the ski bowl, the better. The way Pete has talked and the way he's designing this is so that it won't interfere. You know, with the current activities, it will augment the current activities. And as long as Gore doesn't move too many snow guns around, we won't get our disc golf buried in snow.
Is there possibilities that somebody could explain a little bit, is there things like somersaults or anything in this? What is this? What kind of a game is it? What do you do?
Golf with frisbees, Bob.
Pardon?
Golf with frisbees.
So you have a course set up like golf, but you use frisbees. It's very popular.
You don't take the frisbee or the golf course,
No, you throw it, it goes into a basket.
it goes into a basket,
Yeah, it's really popular. People like it.
so what's it, a bunch of baskets, and you
Yeah.
sit down here and you try to throw something in the basket?
Yeah.
There's individual different frisbees for distance and for putter, everything. That-
No golf carts.
How much land is required?
Very little, because it can be usually stuff like that's done around the outside edges of the place. So
It's
very
going to be
little surface
integrated
area.
into the summer trail network that's already at Ski Bowl, the cross-country trail network, and other open spots.
The initial design calls for 2 9-hole loops that will start and near Joe Lodge. It can be built out so that it can accommodate beginners and more advanced players. The goal is to have a championship level course that can host larger tournaments, draw professional disc golfers. This is not the first course that I've built. During my time in the row, a professional disc golfer and I worked together. We built a course. It was actually used and hosted part of the state championship last year down in the road. That's what we're trying to emulate here with Orta. I met with Bone today. He's very interested, very excited about the potential. Once the lodge is online and zip coaster, and once all the people start flocking to Ski Bowl, I think it's going to appeal to a lot of the same folks that are going to be coming to enjoy Orta's additions to the park. And certainly the folks that are taking advantage of the hiking trail, biking trail, a lot of those folks also play disc golf. So I think it's like Jim said, it should fit in nicely with what we currently offer. I anticipate being able to work with the school, try to get, a younger group playing, teach them the game.
Maybe the teachers too, bring them down.
Hey,
Don't forget about us.
down at Crandall, I'm pretty sure they have a weekly league. They host tournaments. I mean, the sky's the limit. There's
Yeah.
so much potential. But in terms of impact, we can reuse a lot of the existing trail network. It's very low impact. It's very low maintenance. It will be a free municipal course for folks to play. And then again, potential down the road to host tournaments, be another draw of people to the community.
Yeah, it's great that Orta could donate some of their stuff to help
Yeah,
out.
that'd be
That's
good.
very
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, I've got a meeting with them later this week to look at their equipment, and if that can save us some money on the baskets, that would be fantastic. And then, you know, we can look at what else we need to really get this course off the ground. The ultimate goal would be to have 9 holes in the ground before winter fly, and before snow flies this year, with the second 9 to be finished in the spring, and the entire course be ready by the 4th of July next year, when the court is ready to start cranking with their summer activity. Gardendale does
Yes.
have a private 9-hole course. What we're seeing a lot is, I told him I wasn't gonna talk too much about this, but if you were to go online, you can find what we call a heat map for disc golf in the Northeast. And specifically in this part of New York, what you're gonna see is there's a big hotbed down around Glens Falls, Queensbury, and then there's a big pocket up towards Plattsburgh. There's not a whole lot of courses in between, and there's certainly no other 18-hole courses or courses of the caliber that we hope to build here. So we really think that this can become sort of an anchor point, a destination point for disc golf in the southern Adirondacks. I mean, that's the hope.
All right, so we're going to move on this resolution. It's written in a way that it is not to exceed the lowest bid, which is 7,905. Board, any other discussion amongst the board?
Yep, I'm good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Thanks, Pete.
Next is a resolution to place an ad to hire a mechanic for the highway department. Fred has 2 openings. This is for a mechanic to replace the mechanic that has left, correct? Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
And any discussion?
On my
All in
end.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next is to place an ad to hire an MEOL operator for the highway department. Again, this is an opening, and we are looking to fill it. So can I get a motion to bring this forward?
So moved.
Second?
And discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody want to tell me what MEO means? Well, boy, let's see, that's 3 extra words. And I was lying. Thank you. Brandon.
Next is a resolution to pay interest to the general fund. Last board meeting, we paid back the loan that was made to the water district. We also paid back the loan that was made to the sewer district. This is a resolution to address the interest that we're paying back to the water district. Typically, interest is paid from the operating fund rather than the capital project. What is not in this resolution and for the board to discuss is the amount of interest paid and the total that will be paid to the general fund from the water district. So I know Danae sent us a chart that's broken down a term of 23 months. There's 3%, 4%, 5%, 6, all the way up to 9%. From all those calculations, there's 2 different things going on here, I think. There is looking at what that money would have made in an I-class account as an investment. And then there is interest that would be paid if it were a loan. The NI-class interest comes out roughly at that 7%, maybe a little bit higher. At the time this loan was made 23 months ago, if you were to go in and get a loan would be less than probably 7% at the time. We made a loan without terms, and now it's us as a board to figure out what we pay from the water district back into the general fund. So let me first bring the resolution to the floor, and then we can discuss. So resolution to pay interest to the general fund. Can I get a motion
Motion?
Second?
and discussion then?
Looking at it as a loan, what was the interest rate? You said there's difference between it as an investment or as a loan.
A little bit less.
Yeah, so as a loan, I believe it's compounded monthly, and as an investment, it's compounded daily.
Okay.
So, and I am no financier.
No,
I'm
I'm
sure
just-
someone in the audience is cringing at my rude or rudimentary, take on that. Again, based off of Danae's calculations, the interest that would have been earned off of the investment in NICLAS was about the 7% range, based off of the documents she provided us last week, or last meeting. That would mean that we're paying, the water district will be paying at 7%, the general fund $7,149. If it's at 8%, it would be $8,194.
Question?
Let me hear from our board members first, please.
I really, as far as that goes, the 7% would be fair, I believe. We don't want to overextend anything because this is going to cost the water users money regardless. So as long as we're satisfying what we would have lost in interest, the 7% would be perfectly acceptable.
And Danae went back the 23 months. She did her due diligence.
So in filling out the resolution, it would be at 7% for a total of $7,149.24. Yep. Any other discussion with the board? Art?
To me, it sounds improper that when you do a loan, you have terms and conditions. And if it wasn't in those terms and conditions at the outset, eyes wide open, I think it's improper to come back and put an interest on that. That's number one. Number two, was the opportunity cost? Why are you charging interest? Because in completing a major project for the town, why are you charging interest? And passing it on to the user, something doesn't square with the
Yeah, so,
proper approach.
so let me, I guess, try to explain. So how the state guidelines are is that you can make a loan from your general fund to a special district, which would be the water district. And it states that it needs to be a reasonable amount of interest on the money loaned. That was never fully defined, but you do need to have a reasonable amount of interest. A district, if you're in the water district and you were loaned money from the town, then you were loaned money from all the people in the town to a certain group of people in the town. So someone that's not in the water district would say, well, why am I loaning them money when I could be earning interest on that money in the general fund, and we're losing out on that interest? So when you say it benefits the town, someone in the outside of the district would say, well, I'm in the town and it doesn't benefit me. So the reason that we're paying back an interest is because we loaned money to a small sub-district from our general fund, and now that loan needs to be paid back to the general fund in the greater population with reasonable interest.
The town should have eyes wide open.
Yep.
The terms and conditions from day one.
Yes, but they didn't, and that's what we're trying to solve.
Seems improper to come and back into something and put that in there. And it really, maybe it's a loan from, certain kind of detail, but it really isn't. It really is a cash flow issue in order to meet a project.
Sure it is.
Seems to me that charging interest at
It's,
this point in time.
the interest that we're charging is the money that was made by the water district from that loan. And what they're doing truly is paying back the money that was made in NICLAS. In NICLAS.
They put, we lend the money, we loan the money, and
Yep.
they put it into an investment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, what was the money for?
It was to manage cash flow of the water project. So we took money out, we got reimbursed, we put it back in. We took money out, we reimbursed it, we put it back into the water district. So the water district, it was $100,000. It might have gone down to 75, and then we got our reimbursement back. It went back up to 100, but it was sitting in a NICLAS account earning interest in the water district, not in the general fund earning interest for the greater townspeople. So what we're doing is paying that back. Mark?
Yeah, I'm just, the statement goes off as mandate, you can't not.
Yep.
And with this, they're very vague on what that rate is. Now, what I'm just wondering is, we should be looking at the time and loan of the money, what the rate's been. I'm just wondering if they do that, or should we be waiting?
She has a range of interest rates if it were a bank loan. And what we've kind of done, we also looked at what was earned in NICLAS with that money, or what would have been earned in NICLAS with that money. And the 7% is about what was earned with the NICLAS over the course of the loan. Absolutely. Yeah, so she went back to try to calculate that amount. She's done a lot of work with the number crunching on it. 23 months ago. Sure. Yes. No, that's interest now that is sitting in their account that they earned from the loan. Correct. Yes. Come out of that. Yes, it will. No, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not
No,
getting a
that would
bill
be
for it. No, no, no.
Awful.
Yep. Because we're going off of the numbers at it's hard to pinpoint what the interest earned was because the value fluctuated. So she would have to go back from the moment that the loan was put in, she would have to compound it daily. And then when there is a decrease because she paid a bill, say $25,000, then she would have to go and compound that from the moment that that payment was made until the next deposit got put in over the last 23 months. And that's asking a whole lot of the bookkeeper to do compounding interest daily on that. So we've done our best estimate, and it's about 7%.
They must get a statement or a registration on each reserve, it's not like it's legally. So just looking at the statements and reserves, that's that.
She did her best bet to calculate
But
it.
that is a good question to
Yeah.
know for the future.
So-
That is a very good question to know.
So do we want to, more discussion?
Have a motion?
Have a
We
motion?
First and a second, yes.
And put it to a vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Can you say the amount again, Jim? 7% at what?
It's 7,149 and 24 cents.
Thank you. Okay.
So let me start knocking these off. No, it wasn't. It went into the whole water district. So there's other interest earned with the other money that was already there. That's what makes it so hard to calculate. Yeah. The next is a resolution to increase senior exemption.
Will you walk us through how to do this properly? We're going to motion it,
We'll motion it and then,
second it.
So depending on what you want to do with it, if we're going to discuss it and do the resolution and it's in place, that's fine. If we want to table this, I do need a first and a second motion to table it, and then you can have further discussion.
That's what I would like to do.
I agree.
Okay.
So this is a resolution to increase the senior income tax exemption limits. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
And discussion. So this is a resolution to increase the senior income tax limits. So the state has increased their senior
No,
tax.
I don't think
Yeah,
we have to,
we're
we
gonna
have to table it first.
You have to table
Oh, we have to.
First, table it
Before we
first.
discuss it or after we discuss it? Before
We
we
table
vote?
it first and then we discuss it.
If we're not going to approve it, we need to
Table it
and that
first.
needs to be done before discussion is
Yeah.
taken.
Once it's tabled, doesn't it, the discussion end?
No,
No, we can still
Okay.
discuss it, yeah.
Okay,
So you need to make a motion to table this.
I had a first and a second. Is that what you folks want to use the first and the second for, is to table this resolution for further discussion?
sure.
That's fine
Yes.
with me.
Okay, so resolution to increase the senior exemption with Mr. Hyde and Ms. Bowers has been tabled.
Yep. So this resolution is to increase the senior income exemption limits. So these were increased a couple of years ago, but the state has further increased the limits a little bit higher for seniors to take an exemption on their property tax based off of income levels. In discussion with other board members, there's a lot of unanswered questions. It's not just limits. There's up to, we can set anywhere from 3,000 to 50,000, and then we can also set a sliding scale of options for different levels of exemption. That's on the surface, and I believe that's what's been adopted in the past. But there are other parts to this that I don't think we have addressed in the past. One is how income is determined. So Social Security benefits not included in your federal adjusted gross income are considered income, except where a locality has opted to exclude them from income. That's one thing that we as a board can opt to do. Distributions from an individual retirement account or individual retirement annuity included in your federal return.
I do want to say it's a little hard when you have that in front of you and it's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
wordy and we don't have it to have the
Yeah.
discussion, quite frankly. So that's part of why having discussion without Kevin here and us all not being on the same page with the information is a little bit of a struggle.
Sure.
I mean, keep going,
Sure.
but that's a part of my concern with the discussion
Sure.
happening tonight, with us all not having the same information.
Right. I
Yeah,
pulled
just-
this off the
Why we're
state.
tabling it.
Yeah,
I
but we're
pulled
still
this
having
off
the
the
discussion, I'm
state
just saying.
site,
Yeah.
and likewise,
Yeah.
uncomfortable with the wording of the resolution
Very vague.
because there are multiple things
Yeah.
where the town can make exceptions to income that we haven't done that would really affect the larger population. I don't know what our law states.
I'm trying to pull up what
Um,
was sent to me, which is
So,
why I'm on my phone, which I know is rude, but I was sent. I think
so
it was sent-
for the record, I am all in favor of giving our seniors that have low income exemptions on their property tax so that they can stay in their homes and live in our community and not get priced out. And that's what some of these do. I think everybody at the table would probably be in favor of that, but we need more information.
This seems to be something where we possibly should either have a committee or like a workshop to determine this. Because as you say, there's more than one thing to begin with, and the depth of it is significant. I think this is something we should table till we sit down, possibly even get community input on it.
I think too, talking to the school, I don't know if there's any implications with the school as well. When you think about grandparents who might have children who live with them, school children who live with them, I know that that can be an issue sometimes. So bringing maybe somebody from the school in, or at least calling them to see what that,
Well, when we get to the point, if we do have a workshop or community.
Yeah.
we
Seems
wanna
to
put
me
a
that
committee on
we were voting on tabling the issue and not having discussion. And we are
yeah,
entering
yeah,
perilously close
Yeah,
to what
yeah.
I would consider to be
Yeah.
discussion.
Well, I
So if
thought
we are
were.
tabling the action, then let's
Yeah.
table it and
okay,
Move on.
wait until a further date.
yeah,
Okay, so tabled.
all right.
Next is resolution to name a private road for 911 address. Edward Corey is asking to have a private road named Private Driveway.
That was
Very
the best I had
original.
out of the 5
That's-
options that he gave me.
Wow.
I had to clarify to him that on a private road, underneath the name of the road, it will already say private road. But he clearly wants
It clear.
clearer that it is no, like a no trespassing. He had several options and they were all like no through fare, no, that was the best.
All
of the
right.
options.
Okay, I need a motion
You
So
have,
moved. Well, second.
and discussion outside of
Where is
maybe,
this, Fred?
It is,
Sorry.
Where?
yes, it's off Glen Creek Road by the Brennan property.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yep, it's just a
Not
little
really
road
relevant.
off that he needs to get some.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
The next is board discussion, interfund loan policy,
I'm not sure what it is.
sewer interest. So just as we had a loan to the water district, we also have a loan to the sewer district, which has been repaid. It's considerable more. We don't have a policy per se. We can either adopt a policy as a board, or future boards, when they loan money, can clearly state terms more than reasonable amount. We are going to have to pay back interest on the sewer loan. It ran 27 months as opposed to 23 months. The sewer loan is even more challenging to calculate because money came out and didn't go back in because it was paying off bills and they weren't reimbursable payments. And when we got our bond, we were able to pay this loan back. And now, just as the water, we have to figure out interest. We could pass a resolution for that interest tonight. We can discuss it tonight and pass it at another time. Board feedback.
Until we have a firm number, I don't really think we should be passing a resolution on it.
We have the same numbers
Okay, That's the same
that
percentage we're going to.
that Danae had given us. And than she had calculated out. This is a little different. I might be more inclined to go with personally 8% because it's harder to calculate that NICLAS earnings solely because, again, money came out and didn't go back in, and then you'd have to calculate,
Like the lesser
yeah,
amount from there.
yeah, the lesser amount.
At 8%, what would the total be?
The total would be $28,805. At 7%, it would be $25,117. It was a $300,000 loan. We can keep it consistent.
I would be more comfortable keeping it consistent
I
since
would
we don't
too.
have a policy and we,
Right, which we do want to establish for sure.
as far as future boards, I think I don't want to write a rule for them other really than to say they should be upfront with loans to what Arthur said. Stating it when they do these loans, being
Oh,
clear
yeah,
about it.
absolutely.
I don't think it was malicious on anybody's part, but, being clear about it upfront. And I also don't think that we can set terms as far as what that percentage rate could be in any way, shape, or form. So it's just maybe saying future boards will clearly state that there is a reimbursement policy with reasonable,
And what it is.
yeah,
Right.
Yep.
they will state a reasonable amount of interest on the money loaned, and they will state that at the beginning of whatever project is going to be loaning the money. But I think it should be slightly broad enough to allow future boards some wiggle room, but also make sure that they are being transparent and good communicators.
So as far as a policy, you would say, and I'm going to try and spitball some wording, but we're going to loan X amount of dollars at X percent over the term of the loan, not knowing sometimes when you're going to be able to pay back or not. Like with the sewer, they didn't know when the bonding would come. I'm comfortable with that. Like you said, as long as it's made clear when the loan is, the
Right.
terms are made clear when
At
the
the
loan
beginning.
is
At
made.
the beginning of
I
the
think
loan,
that's
right?
very important. And then leave everything else blank for future
Right.
boards to fill in.
Yep.
And I think including reasonable amount, is that fair? Or is that just inferred?
Well, this is in that reasonable amount is because we didn't have terms stated,
Right.
right?
Okay,
So
okay.
So before us, we are looking at
before
a
us,
resolution.
yep, so, I mean, we could have a floor resolution to state a policy that when loans are made in the future, terms are set at the time of the loan and clearly made. So we could have a floor resolution for that.
But we're not stating the terms of,
We're
No,
not
but
stating
they
the
will
terms,
be
but the
stated clearly.
percentage, yeah.
but they'll be clearly made at the time of the loan.
Right.
Yep.
That'd be fine.
That doesn't answer what we're looking at right now.
No,
The second thing we're looking at is then paying back the interest to the sewer, right? So two things on the board discussion. Both will need to be floor resolutions. So floor resolution number one can be, are people comfortable with 7% consistent with the water for the sewer?
I'd move
I am.
that.
25, 1,
And same thing, we're
7.
not talking bills, we're just talking everything going back in.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep. So we have a floor resolution seconded by Arnold to pay interest to the general fund for the sewer loan, 7% for a total of $25,117 dollars and 25 cents. Any
Can I
other?
ask who the first motion was?
I can motion, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to make that floor resolution.
Okay, so.
Arnold second.
And Arnold with the 7%. Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
And further discussion? No, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, great. And now the second, if we want to, is just state a broad policy, interfund loan policy, that terms will be made clear when the loan is made
Absolutely.
by the board, by the sitting board at the time.
Could we have Danae do up that resolution?
Sure
so it
can.
has the correct wording, please?
Yep, sure
That's-
can.
Good call.
Yep.
Could I get a first?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Monthly report of the supervisor is here. I believe, Gene, we do need to pass
Thank you.
this?
Yes,
Yep, so
resolution, please.
can I,
Motion.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And myself included. Warrants? Can I get a motion?
You have. Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Committee reports. Well,
Not much going on. It'll be next Monday for the solid waste, I believe. Pete? All right, and, right, and, oh, that's fine, whatever, but yeah, there's been nothing since last, and everything's, yeah, still going smoothly, working well, yeah. I'm getting a good feedback from our constituents at the dump too, our transfer station too, as far as how things are working. Having the second person up there, it really made a big difference as far as what people perceive. I think it was a good move. Well looked at.
yeah,
And as far as highway, there's been nothing on that other than
no,
you've been
that's,
working with Fred with our, for budget stuff.
Nothing really to report. There's a lot going on quietly behind the scenes. Hopefully something to report next meeting.
Sewer, we had another construction meeting, which covered the project overview. Jerson had a couple of their final submittals approved, so that got the tanks, they're ordered. There was one change order that I discussed with Nick for Keller. The change order for Keller is because of unintended placement of underground infrastructure under Main Street. So they had to change and redesign a couple of different times for stormwater lines that weren't supposed to be where they were, for changes in the water main. Also, BABA is Build America Back Again, something like that, is a requirement for Keller because of the second USDA loan that we got for at the end of the project. So they had to follow BABA. So there was cost increases on some of the material for that. So I believe those are about 142,000 change order. That's coming out of contingency. We have 848,000 in contingency, and they are almost done with their construction. So that's a good sign. Jerson is still doing the final redesign for the infiltrator systems. There's been a lot of redesign. There'll probably be a change order for Cedarwood's extra engineering, but for Jerson, that will be a wash because of some of the changes in the design and how that worked out. So there won't be a increase on that. That's sewer. Saturday, there was a 4 and 6 hour mountain bike race at the ski bowl. Numbers were a little off of what they were hoping and expecting, but there were 25 competitors. The closest to Johnsburg was in Speculator. but people came from New England, Western New York, Southern New York, Northern New York. The winner of the race did 60-plus miles at our ski bowl and 7,000 vertical feet of climbing, 121 man-hours of volunteer work, which included both setup, race day, and teardown. The promoter did break even and is excited to return and grow the event. And thanks go out in many different directions to the town of Johnsburg Parks and Public Property Director, their staff, and helping Utah with equipment and making sure that the base area was clean. Orta helped with trail work and shoring up some of the work road crossings that tend to get eroded. They provided ski patrollers. They provided radios and netting. It really couldn't have been a safe event without their help. The town of Johnsburg OCTAX committee in the grant that they got, helped with some of the promotion as well. Upper Hudson Trail Alliance for helping to organize, promote, and assist Unify Cycling in all aspects of the event. Only one person camped, so it wasn't a huge stress on our park, but that option was there for them. So the racers were thrilled with the course and excited to come back and see the event grow. That's the bike race, and I want to just comment on the entrance sign, the post that Pete put up, made a little garden so that the banners that we hang in Ski Bowl Park, while they are an irritant to some of our more stringent sign people, thank Pete and his crew for making a more sturdy system and
For sure.
and a nice garden there. So thanks, Pete. And that's it on my list.
Town of Johnsburg Seniors Committee, as we have had reported previously, we are in receipt of a $2,500 grant from AARP. Applications for the assistance for the Home Fit Modification Program are now available. You'll find those available at the town hall. You'll find them at the senior meal site. You will find them in various other places. Basically, I'd like to just read the introduction to this program. The Johnsburg Seniors Committee is seeking applications for a new home fit modifications program, which can provide simple home modifications and accessible safety solutions to create and maintain lifelong homes for local residents, senior citizens, and those that are age 50 plus. The main areas of focus for these modifications will be home entrances and bathrooms. The Seniors Committee will utilize local carpenters and volunteers to complete the necessary modifications. Applications for this program will be reviewed and at least 10 eligible applicants will receive services. Completed applications may be returned to Johnsburg Town Hall, and there is a deadline of September 1st for the applications. So if anyone here, if you feel that you are able to qualify for this, or if you know individuals who may benefit from this program, please let them know, because at the present time we have, I think, well, Pete's holding up 3 fingers, so we have 3 applications that have been returned up to this point in time, and we do have the potential there. The potential is there for up to 10 applicants to be provided with services. And we also are sitting on the edge of our seats, and I know everyone here is sitting on the edge of your seats, waiting for the next Johnsburg Jottings to come out, because we have now a page that will be included in the Johnsburg Jottings that will be sponsored by the Town of Johnsburg Seniors Committee, but it is not solely the aim of this committee to cover just committee activities, but also to include information for the general population. So coming up in this first issue, there will be such subjects as the senior meal site, senior transportation, town board meeting and times and dates, and the outreach center news and notes. So look forward to either receiving this publication through the mail or catching it online.
It will also be available at town hall, the senior center, and anywhere else we can find a stack of them each month.
And that's going to be going forward. It's going to be in all Jaguar jottings.
We did a full page front back
That's awesome.
in the Jaguar Guide.
That's great.
It's a great partnership between the school and the town. The administration and school board is excited about formalizing this really.
Comprehensive plan. It's an action plan. Check it off.
Okay, privilege of the floor. Absolutely. Steps on your Fitwatch.
Okay, Bob Nessel, maybe again, there's rumors going around on the street relevant to the sewer. And there are lots of them. And my favorite one I won't talk about tonight. But this is interesting to me. There's going to be some sort of a letter sent out to users or people on the line. I don't know which, maybe both. The people will have an option to either sign up or not sign up. And I don't know what that means, but I would think if you don't sign up to hook on to the big pipe, then doesn't cost you anything. But what happens if the sewer district doesn't generate enough income to manage operating expenses? And as far as I can see, there's a very strong possibility if people left in the district, which is unbelievably tiny number compared to the number of people that live in a possible district, that revenues from operations will not meet costs. So what's going to happen? And who do I talk to find out whether or not my personal property can get a tie-in to the big pipe? So there's two questions there. I don't know. Is there a clerk of the works? Who do you talk to if you want to find out something about
Do you want me
this
to-
operation?
Do you want me to address rumors, Bob, or would you like?
Are you the clerk of the works?
No, I'm not the clerk of the
You're
works.
not. Well, who is?
I am the board member overseeing the engineering firm that is the clerk of the works.
Your position, if it's an official position, is illegal because anyone to be clerk of the works has to be totally independent of any of the activities involved in whatever the works is. But we won't worry about that. Anyway, what's going to happen if you don't get enough users on the pipeline to pay for it?
If you want to talk sewer, Bob, we can talk sewer. I'm not going to do it now.
You are not going to let the people of Johnsburg know what's going to happen to the sewer line? You've got to be kidding.
This is
This is you.
This isn't the
We
forum,
ought
Bob.
to. I know I could get probably a couple of people that would come together And we might go down and find a lawyer that would put this thing under water. You're serious.
Bob, this isn't a question and answer session. Privilege of the floor, express your opinion, and then you get to sit down. If you want answers
My
to
opinion
questions,
is a question, and the question
but this
requires an
isn't-
answer.
This isn't question and answer session.
Well, why don't you write that down then? You said privilege of the floor. So I'm using my privilege as a resident, a taxpayer in Johnsburg, and not only that, but as far as I know, I think in this whole room right here, I'm the only one that has any property in this district. And none of you people, by the way, that approve this thing have any, that you don't have a dog in the race here. And do any of you have any property on Main Street here? No, you don't. I keep track of things like that. And
Thank you.
when a lot more people in the district, which is tiny right now, it's unbelievably small. When
Have you read the
when a
map
lot of
planner
people,
report?
when a lot of people find out about no information available, something's gonna happen. Because I've got something I can do to make that happen. That's amazing.
Hi, I just wanted to share some news with everyone. We had a community fund for the Gore Mountain region held their annual grant reception yesterday. And out of the $42,650 that we gave out, $11,750 of that went to organizations in the town of Johnsburg. It's pretty cool. We had everything that included Johnsburg Central School, the EMS, ACOC, senior activities, and OTTG. So pretty magnificent showing for this town. It was pretty amazing. So I just want to say that was really fun on my part to be able to give out all of that money. The other piece I want to bring to attention is that Tannery Pond Center's Community Outdoor Day is September 20th. Last year and the year before, we had more than 1,200 people. Last year, I think, was over 1,500. They are seeking some additional vendors. They've got some additional vendor space, so I just want to put that out there. If you know anybody, or if you have stuff to sell and you would like to take a vendor space, please reach out to Tannery Pond soon because they're getting all of the promotions out there right now. So, all right, thanks. For what? Nope. We're in the building too, so, and we have tents, so, yeah. And we have outdoor music, right?
Anyone else? Privilege of the floor. All right, then I move to
Motion?
adjourn the meeting.
You have to make a motion.
Motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I didn't want to bring this up, but just so you guys know,
Yeah.
Willie brought this to my attention. These are the rates